Hey everyone, ready to turn movie night into a language lesson?
Sounds fun. I'm all for making learning enjoyable.
Me too! And today we're diving into some awesome family-friendly films that are perfect for boosting your English skills.
Using movies is such a great way to learn a language.
Oh,
It's engaging, it's entertaining, and it doesn't feel like studying at all.
exactly. And we have this cool article from Express English, a language center over in Dubai, that recommends 5 movies for just that. We're going to break down why they work, what makes them so enjoyable, and the language skills you can snag along the way.
Sounds like a plan. Let's dive in.
Okay, so the article focuses on family movies. Why is that a good approach for learning English?
Well, it's all about creating a shared experience, right? You can watch with your family, friends, whoever, and it gives you a chance to chat about it afterwards, practice your speaking. You can even pick up new words from each other.
Turning movie night into a sneaky language lesson. But I'm guessing we need to be a bit more active than just passively watching, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Just zoning out in front of the screen won't make you fluent. We're talking active viewing here. Pause the movie, write down words you don't know, look them up.
And subtitles. Don't be afraid to use them, especially when you're starting out.
Totally. Think of it like having a language tutor built right into your screen. Plus, watching a movie a couple of times, especially when you're paying attention to the language, really helps those words and phrases stick.
It's like building a language muscle. All right, let's jump into our first recommendation. What do you say we start with a classic? Toy Story.
Toy Story. Love it. And, why stop at one? The whole series is fantastic for language learners, especially beginners.
I agree. I remember being blown away by the animation when I first saw it, but looking back, I realized how much I was absorbing from the language, too, without even realizing it.
That's the beauty of it, right?
Hmm.
The dialogue is clear, engaging, easy to follow. And those universal themes of friendship, loyalty, overcoming challenges, everyone can relate to that.
And there's a good amount of repetition, too, which is great for reinforcing vocabulary, like Buzz Lightyear, to infinity and beyond. You can't help but say it after watching the movie a few times.
And it sticks with you. Before you know it, you're using it in everyday conversation.
Right. And Woody's classic lines, "There's a snake in my boot." Those are phrases you'll hear all the time in English.
Classic idioms.
And speaking of classics, did you know the first Toy Story was the very first fully computer animated movie ever made?
Really?
Yeah, it was groundbreaking.
Wow. What an impact, both on film and on language learning.
Okay, ready for our next pick. This one's A Spoonful of Sugar.
Ooh. I love where this is going.
We're diving into Mary Poppins Returns, the 2018 version. I've always been a sucker for musicals, and this one doesn't disappoint.
I'm with you on musicals. And this film, it's not just about great songs. It exposes viewers to a ton of different vocabulary, family, problem solving, even a little bit of financial stuff in there.
Oh, and I remember the article mentioned the visuals being a learning aid, too. So you're learning from the dialogue, the music, and what you see on screen.
It's a whole multi-sensory experience.
Yeah.
And if you want to take it to the next level, try singing along with the songs. It's super fun and it helps with pronunciation and memorizing new words.
That's a great tip. I'm trying that next time. Now, are you ready for something a bit more adventurous?
Bring it on. I'm always up for an adventure, especially if it involves expanding my vocabulary.
Perfect, because for our next film, we're heading to a very special museum. It's Night at the Museum, and of course, we're talking about the whole series.
Oh, Night at the Museum. I love those movies. It's action, comedy, fantasy, and history all rolled into one.
Exactly. And because of that, you're exposed to a ton of different vocabulary, history, art, museum exhibits. It's like a whirlwind tour of different subjects.
And the dialogue is so fast-paced and witty. It's perfect for getting used to the natural rhythm of spoken English.
Right. And I bet you could pick up some great idioms and slang from this series, too.
Oh, definitely. The way the characters talk to each other, the jokes they make, you'll get a feel for how people really use English in casual situations.
It's a fun way to go beyond textbook English. So for anyone who loves a good mystery, we've got a recommendation that's right up your alley. Ready for it.
Hit me. I love a good mystery.
Enola Holmes. And guess what? There are 2 parts to keep you on the edge of your seat.
Enola Holmes. Okay, so this is where things get a little trickier vocabulary-wise. It's definitely a step up from our previous picks.
Would you say it's more for people who are past the beginner stage?
Yeah, I'd say so. You'll come across a wider range of vocabulary, more nuanced expressions. And because it's a detective story, you're going to learn some phrases about, like, deductive reasoning, deduction, cipher, alias, words like that.
It's like a mental workout and a vocabulary lesson all in one. Plus, I love that it features a strong, independent female character.
Oh, absolutely. She's inspiring.
Yeah.
And, speaking of inspiration, Enola Holmes could be a great way to get into classic English literature, too.
Ooh, how so?
Well, Enola is, of course, Sherlock Holmes's younger sister. The original Sherlock Holmes stories by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, those are masterpieces of detective fiction. They're perfect examples of how language can create suspense and intrigue.
So watching Enola Holmes, you're not just improving your English, you're getting a taste of literary history. Okay, ready for our last movie recommendation? It brings us back to animation and musicals.
I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
We're going with Tangled.
Tangled. Another Disney classic. They're always a great pick for language learners.
I agree. Disney movies have that magical combination of catchy tunes and memorable dialogue. They get stuck in your head, in a good way, of course.
The songs are so catchy, and that repetition is key for learning new vocabulary and grammar. And Disney storylines often have those universal themes of courage, kindness, self-discovery. It makes them relatable no matter where you're from or what language you speak.
And they just make you feel good, which makes the learning process even better.
Totally. I think Tangled is a great example of that. The language is simple, but the story is full of emotion and adventure. Everyone can enjoy it.
You know what I love about musicals is how the melodies help you remember the words and phrases. It's like a built-in memory trick.
That's so true. And I think it leads us perfectly into a key takeaway from our deep dive today. Choosing the right movie can really make a difference in your language learning. It's not just about watching for fun, it's about engaging with the language and making it a part of your experience.
Absolutely. It's about finding that movie that just clicks with you, that makes you want to dig deeper into the language. Like for me, watching Toy Story again as an adult, it was amazing to see how much the language stuck with me from when I was a kid.
It's incredible how much we absorb without even realizing it, right? And that's what Express English is highlighting with these family-friendly recommendations.
Yeah.
They're appealing to a wide range of people, no matter their age or how much English they know.
And since they're meant to be watched together, it creates those natural opportunities for practicing the language and having those conversations. Like, imagine watching Enola Holmes with your family and then trying to use those cool detective words afterwards, like deduction or cipher.
Exactly. It turns a regular movie night into this fun, interactive language experience. You're learning without even realizing it because you're having so much fun. So for everyone listening, here's our challenge. Pick a movie, any movie, and watch it with this language learning lens.
Yeah, take notes, look up words, repeat phrases out loud, and most importantly, have fun doing it.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to pause, rewind, use those subtitles if you need them. It's your learning journey. You do you.
Love that. And it's important to remember that language learning, it's a marathon, not a sprint. There will be moments where you hit a wall or get frustrated.
Oh, yeah, totally. But it's all about keeping that curiosity alive, staying playful with it.
Yeah. Like when you're working on a puzzle and get stuck, the feeling when you finally figure it out is so rewarding.
Exactly. Celebrate those little victories along the way, Enjoy the process and never lose sight of your goal. Speaking of goals, though, I think this brings up a big question. How do you pick the right movie for your language learning?
That's a great point because the movie you choose really does matter. You want something that keeps you engaged, but that's also the right level for you. Like, Toy Story is great for beginners, right? With its simple sentences and clear pronunciation.
Precisely. And as you get more comfortable, you can move towards movies with tougher language, like Enola Holmes, or even historical dramas. They've got those rich vocabularies and subtle dialogue. I'm a big fan of historical dramas myself.
Me too. It's like they transport you to another time. You're learning the language of that era, all those old-fashioned words and phrases, different grammar sometimes. Like you're getting a sneak peek into how the language has changed.
It's so cool, right? It really makes you appreciate how rich and diverse the English language is.
Yeah.
But back to choosing the right movie. It's all about finding that balance, right? Challenging, but not overwhelming.
Totally. Don't be afraid to play around with different genres, different accents. See what works for you. I remember when I first started watching British comedies, I was so lost with all the slang. But the more I watched, the more I understood. Now I love them.
There's nothing like that aha moment when you finally get the joke right or understand a cultural reference. It's so satisfying. And it's what makes language learning so fun, all those little discoveries. Speaking of which, we've got so many incredible resources to help us learn languages these days, like subtitles and apps and online dictionaries just a click away.
It's amazing. It's like having a personal language tutor in your pocket.
And those language apps, they're so convenient for practicing on the go. Squeeze in a lesson during your commute, your lunch break, anytime. It's all about making language learning part of your daily life.
Right. And don't forget about the social side of learning the language. Find online communities, language partners, talk to native speakers whenever you can. And don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Oh, definitely not. Mistakes are a part of the process. It means you're pushing yourself and trying new things.
Exactly. Embrace those awkward moments. Laugh them off. Keep practicing. Because fluency isn't an endpoint, you know? It's a journey.
So true. It's a journey you're constantly on, and it's best enjoyed with a sense of humor and a willingness to learn from those slip-ups along the way.
Absolutely. And remember, you're not alone on this journey. There's a whole community of language learners out there going through the same things, celebrating the victories, supporting each other. It's pretty amazing.
It really is.
Yeah,
And who knows, maybe someday you'll be recommending your favorite English language movies to someone else just starting their own language journey.
I love that thought. Okay, before we wrap things up, there's something that's been on my mind. So the article we talked about focused on family movies, but what about other genres? I feel like there's a whole world of films out there that could be awesome for learning English.
Oh, totally. I think that's a really cool idea. It really does open up so many possibilities.
Like documentaries. I'm
Mhm.
a huge documentary fan, and I feel like they'd be perfect for learning vocabulary related to specific topics, like nature, history, science, you name it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They often use super specific language and pack so much information into a short amount of time. Plus, you get to hear all sorts of different accents and speaking styles.
Oh, and what about historical dramas? Those are like time machines for language learning.
So true.
Yeah.
You're totally immersed in the language of a specific period. You hear those old words, formal expressions, different grammar even. It's like a crash course in how language changes over time.
I can just imagine watching a Jane Austen adaptation and all of a sudden I'm fluent in like Regency era English. Okay, maybe a bit of a stretch.
Hey, a language learner can dream.
Exactly. And we can't forget about comedies. They're full of wordplay and slang and those tricky cultural references.
But figuring those out is so rewarding. Comedies are great for understanding how humor works in another language. It's a big part of really getting a language.
And you can't beat a good laugh. Laughter is a great stress reliever, and when you're enjoying yourself, you're way more likely to keep learning.
100% agree.
So to everyone listening out there, we challenge you. Go beyond those typical movie choices and explore. Think about what you love, how you learn best, and just have fun with it.
Yes, exactly. Have fun. That's the most important thing. Language learning shouldn't feel like a chore. It should be an enjoyable experience.
Exactly. So grab your popcorn, get comfy, and let the movie magic begin.
Happy watching.
And happy learning.